He is an extraordinary example of a VCU Arts graduate who has grown, who has succeeded, and refuses to stop challenging himself in new ways. Please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker, Charles Watlington.
Elated audience, esteemed faculty, proud parents, and most importantly, fine and pixel-perfect graduates of the VCU Arts class of 2023. I am overjoyed and honored to be here today, especially because this is a room overflowing with people embarking on a journey to do what they love. Talk about putting some good energy on it. And it takes guts to go to art school. And look at you now, graduate. And thank you to Dean Higginbotham and VCU School of the Arts for having me here today. And yes, I'm Charles Watlington, profoundly dyslexic, heavily bearded, almost didn't go to college guy, who happens to be a hard worker with some talent, I guess. My secret, listen here, has been to have a positive attitude, be nice to people, and have against the odds belief in myself. It all happened for me when I was a cleanest shaven high school junior who joined my school's literary arts magazine called Uantes. I was led into the magazine class because I could draw. I was really obsessed with sketching with extreme attention to detail. One of my pieces that made it into the magazine was a portrait of Lenny Kravitz. You know, are you gonna go my way? Because I got to know. And I was ultra proud of it. It was good. It still is, and it's framed and leaning against a box maze somewhere in my parents' basement. Anyhow, my magazine teacher gave me a 99 as a grade for my Lenny Kravitz masterpiece. And I was like, why not a 100? And his response was, because nothing is perfect. This really hit home for me and drove me to try to always just work harder and harder. And as I mentioned before, I'm drenched with dyslexia. And I was growing up, it wasn't understood very well. And I was in learning disability classes from first to 8th grade. And honestly, I was very embarrassed, anxious, and insecure about it. So making it into the magazine class with poets and high achievers, and then being praised for my artwork, made me feel like I was going to possibly be more than my learning difficulties. Then off to VCU I went. Well, actually there were a few bumps in the road. I'm insanely lucky to be able to say that I have parents who love me deeply. The truth is, they once drove 3 hours to Richmond while I was here on a business trip. Waited in the car for hours just to say hi to me, and then turned around and drove 3 hours back home. I'm insanely lucky to be able to say that I've been loved, but I was never encouraged to go to college. My parents grew up farmers, and their highest education was high school. And in my hometown of Danville, Virginia, most people at the time would leave high school and then work in a factory in town. But thanks to the encouragement I received in Uantes, I took the leap to pursue a higher education and follow my interest in the arts. So after improving my grades into a local community college, I was proudly accepted and then graduated from VCU with honors. And thank you, and Y'all don't need to hear my advice about how to make it through college, thankfully, but I will mention that I was painting major bound, and Professor Kristen Caskey saw one of my paintings in her AFO class and said, "Have you ever thought about being a graphic designer?" And I'm in debt to her for guiding me down that path because it has given me a glorious decades-long career. And thank you to my parents for expecting me to pay for college. So now I'm really good at watching money. Find a way to do that, folks. So then fast forward to my move to New York City. It was the incredible retired VCU professor, John Malinowski, who urged me to move there. So the scope of my imagination still didn't encompass dreams like a move to the Big Apple. But I took his advice, packed up my things, and thought, I'll give it a year. My parents drove me to my first apartment in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. And when we pulled up to the address, my father said, "I'd rather be moving to jail." He definitely meant it. It was fancy. It's fancy there now, but 100% wasn't back then. But I settled in, made connections, started job searching, and my wife reminds me that when I had my first interviews in New York City, I had made buttons where the interviewers were my goofy face in the middle, surrounded by the words, "Choose Charles." Thankfully, they did. It was subject to their job offering email reading, "We have chosen Charles." So believe in yourself, folks, because why not? As we say daily, life is short, so don't waste time with doubt. Choose yourself. First job that chose me was at Ogilvy and Mather, the brand integration group run by Brian Collins, a creative genius, where I worked on redesigning Coca-Cola and Miller High Life. And right away I was placed with mentors who would change my life, and I was very open to it. I then went on to work at various companies from Jazz and Lincoln Center, Kate Spade, to MoMA, and then the Mart Agency in their New York office, to TBWA, and now currently Johannes Leonardo. And I must mention that I'm certain that a hot topic amongst graduates must be the scourge of AI, eliminating jobs and creativity. My advice is to use it to your benefit. Things that took me hours and hours now just take minutes. But don't trust it completely. You think AI would have dripped me up as an image of a commencement speaker? Yet here I am. Regarding my designs, my most recent large campaign was the Volkswagen ID Buzz, the new electric bus, in which I created the entire design system. I currently work for a company that aims to be edgy whenever possible, but I knew that Volkswagen was looking for something classic and iconic. And I was proud that they went with my idea for the US launch. So here's the part of the commencement address where I give you advice that you can tattoo on yourself when you get your first post-graduation paycheck. Firstly, if you are able, take up running. It's been the best thing that I've ever done for myself. And I ran the New York City Marathon in 2016. And I continue to join other races when I can. Running is largely a type of meditation, which we all need for our mental well-being. Next, if you are able and want to have 3 children and feel like your mind will explode several times a day from screaming and fighting, and be cool with it. And with hope, one day, one will become professional actors who will buy you a mansion from Selling Sunset. Thirdly, if you have a spouse, my wife says her advice would be that the dirty clothes go inside the hamper and not on top of the lid. This will bring your house one step closer to kumbaya. And now for my side gig, I have to tell y'all about how I spend most of my time outside of advertising, which is as a classic country DJ called DJ Mix. I have a massive collection of old 45s, and I've been DJing around New York City for 15 years. And now my fellow business partner, DJ Prison Rodeo, and I have started a monthly event called Honky Tonkin' in Queens. I use my designer background to create our event posters, which have definitely helped immediately make the event legit and recognizable. This year we've had 8 sold-out shows with crowds of over 500 people, and are organizing more events with over 1,000 people in the new year in New York City and beyond. So I recommend finding your passion outside of your career as well, because you never know what will become successful and fulfilling. As a reminder, as you travel into the wide world as adults looking to make your way in it, stay positive. Don't be jerks. And believe in yourself. Look closely at my wild beard and remember that if I, Charles Watlington, can make it, you, by golly, will make it.